Welcome to JC Independent High School Inter-Class Debate Competition. Our topic today is parents should be allowed to choose their baby's gender. On my right is the government team from SA2B, consisting of Mr. Frankie as the first speaker, Miss Journey as the second speaker, Miss Susan as the third speaker, and Mr. Tai Hong as the fourth speaker. And on my left is the opposition team from A1E, consisting of Miss Steven as the first speaker, Mr. Adrian Wu as the second speaker, Miss Nikero as the third speaker, and Miss Weber as the fourth speaker. Now I would like to introduce our adjudicators for today's debate, Ms. Kwang, as the chef adjudicators for today's debate. Chief. I, Aminha, will be the chairperson for this debate, and Siddharthan will be the timekeeper. Now I am going to introduce the rules for today's debate competition. Firstly, the maximum speaking duration is 5 minutes for each speaker and 4 minutes for reply speech. There is no extra time given. Next, during the rebuttal, members should not bring up any new arguments or new evidence except on direct refutation on material which has already been presented. Then, member will only speak when called upon by the speaker. There should not be any hacking. Besides, all speakers should attempt to both deliver at least one POI and to accept one POI during the course of the debate. There is no continuous POI allowed. It is considered as heckling. Furthermore, the first minute of each constructive speech is considered protected time during which no POI can be made. In addition, no POI and new main point may be made during the reply speech. Moreover, the government team must define the resolution. Their definition must be accepted unless it is undebatable or unreasonable. Lastly, is the time allocated for the competition. Time given is 5 minutes. The first bell will ring after the speaker speaks for 1 minute like this. After 1 minute, member of the opposition team can then raise the POI. After the speaker has spoken for 4 minutes, the bell will ring like this. POI can still be made after this. POI time given is 50 seconds. After the bell rings, the speaker will have to stop. And after the speaker has spoken for 5 minutes, the bell will ring twice, like this. The speaker has to stop. Now I will call upon the first speaker of the government to present his case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
A very good morning to the chief, adjudicator, teachers, and my dear opposition team. I am Frankie, representing the government team. Our team strongly believes that parents should be allowed to choose their baby's gender. I am the first speaker and I am going to be giving the definition and the first point. During the second speaker will give out the definition the second speaker will give the others 2 points and do the rebuttals, and the third speaker, Susan, will give rebuttals, and the fourth speaker, Kai Hong, will do conclusion. We, the government team, strongly believe that the definition of baby is being in a mother's womb. Now I will be moving to our team's first point, which is human right. According to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, state that men and women of full age have the right to marry and to form a family. And this right should be understood to cover the right to make decisions over how that family should be formed. When a family has a large number of boys or girls, why should they be deprived of their opportunity to have a child of a different gender if the technology exists? For example, James Watson, the Nobel Prize winning DNA planner, and Professor Robert Award had helped create the first test tube baby in 1978. They said couples should be allowed the right to select the gender of their offspring. Especially Professor Awad said that he has no objection for gender selection. He said that it was justified for couples who simply wanted to ensure their families had both boys and girls. Parents have reproductive rights that allow them to determine when and where they want to have children. These rights also extend to the kind of upbringing they will create for their children. While these reproductive rights are already available, it is important that the right be included to choose the sex of their child. Thank you.
Thank you. The first speaker has spoken for 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Next, first speaker of the opposition team to present her case. Time given is also 5 minutes. Please begin.
Good morning to the chief educator and my fellow worthy opponents. My name is Liwen. I'm the first speaker of this opposition team. Today I'm gonna talk the first point, and this is the second speaker of my team. He is Adrian Wu. He's gonna talk the second point and the third point. And this is the third speaker of is Lee Pedro, and he gonna rebut the government team. And the fourth speaker is Lu Weiger. He gonna conclude our team point. Today we are talking about parents should not be allowed to choose their baby gender. People should have the rights of choosing their own gender. According to the government team's points, they are saying human rights too. But in fact, the baby are not replacement. They are unique in themselves, and they are individuals by all they are reborn. Children are not toys too. They are not meant to be designed to specification most convenient to the owner. To many peoples, the moment of conception is the start of life, touched by God, and not to be interfered with or abused out our selfish human motivates. Freedom of choice is a good participant, but harm is done to others by the practice of sex selection, and it should not be allowed. If you are not prepared to have a child either gender, then you have no rights to be a parent at all. Being a parent isn't something everyone is capable of. It is just a fact, and one requirement of being a good parent is to accept your child for who they are and not be denying them the best upbringing you can give them, purely based on their gender. If you don't want the risk of having a child of certain gender, then you should not have the rights to have a baby at all. Thank you.
Thank you. The first speaker has spoken for 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Next, second speaker of the government team to present her case. Time given is also 5 minutes. Please begin.
A very good morning to the Honorable Chief Educator and my lovely opponent. My name is Joreen, and I'm the second speaker. I'll be giving up rebuttals and another 2 points. We, the government team, strongly believe that parents should be allowed to choose the baby gender. And now I'll be giving the rebuttal, which is the opposition first speaker has stated the baby has the human rights, but our definition has stated that the definition of the baby is being in the mother's womb. So it means that the baby is in an embryo situation, which is very small, and which has no thoughts about the human rights. So now I'll be moving on to the second point. If the parents were allowed to choose baby gender, it will prevent a lot of incidents. For example, children put for adoption, abandoned, and even infanticide. Now I'll be giving two infanticide examples. For like Asian countries society that valuing boys more than girls like China and India, people call it as sex-selective abortion. In India, father and mother used to give more food and more medical attention to son rather than daughter because of their strong obsessive desire for son and for protection in old age as well as for funeral offerings, causing daughters are dying. And on the other hand, China, the one-child policy in the mid-1990s is used to rebalance the population and also to tackle the overpopulation issue. So it leads to the sub-replacement fertility, which is a total fertility rate that leads to each new generation being less populous than the others. According to Wikipedia, all European Union countries had a sub-replacement fertility rate, including Spain and France. And for the East and Southeast countries, like Singapore and South Korea, which means that this sub-replacement fertility rate leads the country to moving on to the modern future. And besides, if a baby gender were not the gender that the parents want, they may put the children for adoption and abandon them. To reduce this social problem, CNN News had reported John Legend and his wife, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, has tried the IVF process, which is pre-implant genetic into an embryo. According to Google, IVF is a safe and effective treatment, and also these babies are born very healthy. And my third point is, the family will live in harmony. You will be happier as a parent, and also safer for those parents that have genetic disorder. The child will be more loved. If you know what your baby gender is going to be, then you as a parent are going to be more prepared when the babies arrive. And some people might say choosing gender will affect how a parent loves their child. But I disagree with this point because, for example, a couple that has already have 3 boys but wants to try for a girl, which means this concept is called as family balancing. So last and foremost, we, the government team, strongly agree to our motion today, which is parents should be allowed to choose baby gender. Thank you.
Thank you. The second speaker of the government has spoken for 3 minutes and 51 seconds. Next, second speaker of the opposition team to present his case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
Good morning to the chief educator and my fellow partners. My name is Adrian and I'll be the second speaker. I'll be rebutting the points of the opposition team and giving 2 points. And my rebut is human population is not a problem in today's society, even with transgender. And not happy with your gender also means that you're not receiving any love. You don't have love with yourself, because if you don't love the gender that you are, then if you don't accept the gender that which you are, then you won't have any love for yourself. And I'll be talking about the difference between gender and sex. Sex means when if you're born with a penis or a anus, then biologically you're a son, biologically you're a boy and a girl. But gender means that if you're born with a penis, biologically and in sex you're a boy. But if you always in your heart, if you want to be a girl and if you like makeup, things like this, then by gender you're a woman. mentally, if you mentally want to be a woman, if you're born a penis and you want to be a girl, then by gender, you're a woman. This is the difference between gender and sex. And if parents are allowed to choose the gender of their children, this will cause a lot of stress to the children that wants to be transgender, and will cause identity crisis and may lead to gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria means, the definition of gender dysphoria is that you don't feel the way of your sex. Means that if you're born a boy but in your heart you want to be a girl, then you have this phobia, and may cause stress and mental issues to children, and may lead to suicide. And if the parents that cause stress to their child and it leads to their children's suicide, this is not suicide, but rather murder. The parents are killing their own children. Thank you, Evan.
Thank you. The second speaker of the opposition has spoken for 2 minutes and 42 seconds. Next, third speaker of the government to present the case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
A very good morning to the Chief Educator and my lovely opponent. My name is Lin Truzen. I am the third speaker and I am going to do the rebuttals. The opposition team keeps saying that children will have what mental issues or they have the gender dysphoria, but my first speaker had mentioned that the definition of the baby is them being in mother's womb. They don't have any thoughts and they can't decide or do anything they have to do because they don't know. So before they become independent, parents have the full responsibility to take care of them and to teach them to do the correct things. So my first speaker also mentioned that humans have the rights to found their family according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So parents can decide the gender of their babies and decide their baby what they have to be before they become independent. And also, they're saying about the gender dysphoria, but it is not the but this problem is not for us to blame on gender selection, because you can change them by educating them and the society but not blame on gender selection. The second speaker of opposition team said that the overpopulation will cause disease like India, but it was already happened in India, so that we strongly agree that parents should allow to choose their baby's gender, because they can choose their genders of the baby to avoid the overpopulation. So we as the government team strongly agree that parents should choose their baby's gender. Thank you.
Thank you. The third speaker of the government has spoken for 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Next, third speaker of the opposition to present her case. Time given is 5 minutes. Please begin.
Good morning to the chief adjudicator and my fellow opinion. Today I will be the third speaker and the rebuttal of the opposition team. Okay. The first thing I want to rebut about your team is a baby is the definition of a baby is after being born and not the first speaker say being in the womb. It means being in the womb means being a fetus and not a baby. A baby has his or her own mind when it comes out from the womb. Secondly, as my second speaker said, sex and gender are very different things. What you guys stated about since the first and second speaker is about sex. Our topic today is about the baby's gender, which means after it is born, parents can only choose when they are born. It is very difficult and very dangerous to change the sex of their baby when they are in the womb. The second speaker said about China's population. Because in today's society, China has more women than men mainly China has more women than men in China, obviously. And then why should we not let our children have the rights to be transgender or non-gender at all? Because the balance between men and women are already that much of a difference. We should just let them choose what they want. Maybe most of the women would like to be a male or non-genderless human being. And my second speaker said about having mental health issues because of gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria, as definition, is that you do not feel the same way as yourself mentally and physically. It is completely different. And for parents to pressure their children since being a baby, since they are born, will cause a lot of mental health issues, which is another point which I want to rebut today. We want a healthy living baby when we grow up and not having health issues. This would most likely cause suicide. And why would we want a dead person when we would have a different gender of a person and a healthy living one? So basically that's what I would like to rebut about the government team. Thank you.
Thank you. The third speaker of the opposition has spoken for 3 minutes and 1 second. The first, second, and third speakers from the government and opposition have delivered their speech. Before the both teams deliver the reply speech, each team will be given 2 minutes to discuss. Start now. Alright, the discussion time is up. Here are the rules for reply speech. After the speaker has spoken for 3 minutes, the bell will ring like this. And after the spoken for 4 minutes, the bell will ring twice. The speaker has to stop. Now is the time for reply speech. We will now invite the opposition to present his reply speech. Sorry, it's her.
Good morning to the Honorable Chief Adjudicator, my teammates, the MC, and also the government team. I greet you all. I'm the fourth speaker of the opponent team, and now please allow me to do my reply speech as our topic. It is parents should not be allowed to choose their baby gender. Okay, today our topic is about the baby's gender, not about the baby's sex, not the world population, just mainly about the baby's gender. Yeah. Although gender selection is an ongoing practice, there are still moral and ethical considerations debated upon by proponents and opponents. The privilege of choosing the gender of child a couple desire to have seemed to be the most logical choice for some, but it also brings up the question of morality when it comes to the embryos not selected in the process. At the end of the day, the burden and the decision lie on the hopeful parents. In the meantime, this still be a controversial issue. Just as what the government team, the first speaker, says about the human rights, that choosing the baby's gender is the parents' choices because they are the one who form the family and they have the right to choose their family's members' gender. But when we talk about human rights, you can just say the babies doesn't have their own thinking, but they still is a human. They still is a human. We should respect their choices about what they want to be, a woman, a boy, or transgender, or non-genderless. Okay. But the HGA's director, Dr. David King, says the creation of a new life is the most morally serious thing you can do. We must not let it become just another consumer choice. Baby is our family members, not toys and not a replacement. So we cannot choose their gender by what we like. If you want to choose your baby's gender, why don't you go just buy a toy, a VR games, or adopt a child. Yes. There's no right to choose your child's sex because this selection is harm the society and may well harm the child and the rest of the family. When the baby becomes a child and the child are adult, they have their own thinking. They want to become what they want. You can't stop them.